In the early 1950s, social service in Singapore was founded on the passion of individuals concerned about the plight of those who could not meet their basic needs. These caring individuals raised funds, volunteered and called for government aid. This gotong royong spirit was what truly supported people in the community who were in need. But soon it became clear more must be done. There was a need to provide proper coordination and support. In 1958, the Singapore Council of Social Service was set up to provide structured social services. It acted as the umbrella body and voice for voluntary welfare organizations, also known as social service agencies today. Its mission was to bring all organizations and individuals interested in community services and welfare together. When fire broke out in Kampong Tiong Bahru in 1959 and Bukit Ho Swee in 1961, the Council, together with voluntary welfare organizations, the government and community came together to deliver disaster relief.
Well, Council of Social Service started almost in 1958 with about 20 charities, and there were charities covering children, elderly, homes, dealing with women, and over the years it has grown from 20 to 450 today. And many people volunteered those early days to start up organizations dealing with elderly, dealing with youth, dealing with children, dealing with child neglect, dealing with poverty. Those were the major issues and problems of the day, reflecting of poorer economy, struggling economy where people have to work very hard to be able to manage their life.
As family and social issues emerged within the community, it was evident that more support was needed for persons with special needs. Policies for disability were reviewed to strengthen the support for persons with special needs. Special education for children with learning disabilities, also known as SPED, was started in 1971 in collaboration with the Ministry of Education.
When compulsory education was introduced to Singapore, the only problem was that children with disabilities were not included. So AWA took the initiative to organize a committee that included all the VWs. Everybody was very enthusiastic, and finally it did come. We did get compulsory education. VWs have put in a lot of effort and shown that children with disabilities are part of our community. They are not outsiders. They belong to Singapore. They are the children of Singaporeans. They need the same help. Yes, a little bit different, but it would be so boring if everybody was the same. So these children have made a difference in the life of other school kids as well.
As social service agencies grew, so did the need for funds to operate the services. In 1983, Community Chest was set up to fundraise for member agencies, so they can focus on delivering quality services.
At that time, we found that some of the charities are not very good at raising money, but they are very good in providing services. So to make them concentrate and do what they're best in, which is providing services. At the beginning, we are just a fundraising organization, but I think we have evolved quite a bit since then. One very important one is we have become a one-stop CSR center for corporations. ComChest have moved into trying to see what are the services that are needed and how can we help. So we're also trying to help them to teach them how to raise money, to explore with them new ways such as digital way of raising money, using the social media to raise money.
In 1984, Community Chest created the well-loved charity mascot, Charity. It grew to be popular with the children.
Now we have introduced it in all the schools. And I think it's very important to inculcate the value of sharing and caring to our youngsters, who will be the future citizens and the pillars of our country. We are now also moving into the play schools to even at that young age, teach them how to share. Even sharing color pencils, sharing things, sharing sweets, simple things like that will help to build up character, will help to build up empathy, to help those who are less fortunate than them.
In 1988, a number of advisory councils were set up to review social needs, identify gaps in services, and recommend action plans. These were in the areas of aging, disability and children and youth. As a result, government programs were administered and acts were enacted to support the needs of the community. In 1998, the Outstanding Social Worker Award was introduced to recognize social workers in Singapore for the key role they play in society. Over the years, social needs have become more complex. To meet these demands, the nature of work for social workers has evolved.
Things have become more complex. It has also become more intense. I think we see a lot of families coming through experiencing crisis issues that we may not have seen that frequently in the past. And workers need to be quick-witted, they need to be quick on their feet and their thinking, and to be able to mobilize different partners in very short span of time compared to the past. So I think we really need to expand these skill sets in order to cope with the emerging demands these days. Therefore, there's a need for us to involve the community more in this entire helping ecosystem.
To address the evolving social needs, social service professionals will need to upgrade their skills. The Social Service Training Institute, now known as Social Service Institute, was set up in 2003 to ensure there would be relevant training for professionals in the sector. This included leadership and organizational development programs.
At that time in 2003, one of the things that we introduced was a code of governance. We wanted people to level up and adopt good governance practices. But don't forget, most charities started off with someone with a great passion, great vision, and administrative things, the processes and all that tend to get neglected. They're just there to serve, to help someone who needs assistance. So SSTI was a good aggregator, looking at all the NGOs and see what are their needs, and then find the common grounds and organize courses so that people with similar needs can find their needs addressed. So that's how it got started, because we saw that passion itself is not good enough for an NGO to develop capabilities, to develop effectiveness, and more importantly, to achieve sustainability.
The first 5-year Enabling Master Plan for the disability sector was proposed in 2007. The vision was for Singapore to be an inclusive society where persons with disabilities were viewed as equal and contributing members of society. In 2013, Singapore ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. This significant milestone was made possible through the strong people, public and private collaboration under the Enabling Master Plan. In 2016, a national initiative to support volunteerism, SG Cares, took flight. It looks into the needs on the ground, shape volunteering opportunities, and match volunteers to the causes.
Well, through the SG Cares movement, we bring together all the social service agencies, all the healthcare providers, all the community organizations, in one community together. And by bringing them together, it creates an opportunity for the givers to network with each other. They realize they're serving the same community, but in different ways, addressing different aspects of need. And through the SG Cares community networks that we are establishing in each and every town across Singapore, it creates the momentum for us to transform our social safety nets by working together in a more cohesive and integrated way. Relationships are critical in that respect, because if the people at the front lines, serving our social service agencies, serving our civic and religious organizations, working in our grassroots and community organizations, if they know each other, trust each other, and have a working relationship with each other, then it enables us to give effect to structures, data sharing, co-location, video conferencing, for them to work more effectively together to give an uplift to families in need.
In 2017, the Social Service Sector Strategic Thrusts, 4ST, a 5-year roadmap was developed so that the sector remains relevant and responsive to future challenges and changing needs of the population.
Long gone are the days where you just did one service, which precluded you from doing other programs and services. Now we actually have to think far more holistically and look at the complex needs that a person has. So it'll be multifaceted. Instead of just one particular service, it might be several supporting a person, Or within that service, there's just many different elements that they need to consider in order to have access for that person. Also, they have to put themselves into the shoes of the person receiving the services and see how much easier it can be for that person to navigate through all that complexity.
In line with empowering individuals, their families and communities, we saw the formation of the Empowering for Life Fund under the President's Challenge in 2018. It supports vulnerable groups through skills upgrading, capacity building and employment.
What we want to do is really to ensure that we empower. That's why we call it Empowering for Life Fund. We want to empower people, not just a question of providing them with assistance, but empowering them by making sure that they can, over time, become independent, develop self-reliance, and what better way to do that other than, to make sure that they're able to have the skills, capabilities to find employment, to get support in this fast-evolving economy and fast-evolving employment landscape.
Today, there is a greater demand for an integrated and person-centered approach to social service. Better coordination among sector players will provide more effective and seamless help. Social service agencies need to leverage on the advancements in technology to support service users.
Technology has certainly improved in the last 10 or so years. In primary 1, there wasn't such a thing as like a Braille computer. It certainly helped a lot in terms of how I study, in terms of how I access documents. Apart from that, a lot of other technologies like assistive voiceover, they help a lot. I even noticed that Facebook has upgraded their system so that it actually recognizes text in pictures, which not even my iPhone can do without Facebook. If I click on a photo, they will tell me like, oh, this photo contains like a person, outdoors, sky. Yeah, it's actually improved a lot and it's really helped a lot in the last 10 or so years.
So what would the future be like for the social service sector? What more can be done to support the service users in our community?
My wish for the social service sector is that we come together, integrate more cohesively in the spirit of the SG Cares movement, embrace new technologies and innovations, continue to strengthen and support and empower our social work professionals.
I hope that more professionals, more social workers will come in, committed, passionate, and I hope that we will move towards a more caring, inclusive, supportive society where everyone has a place, everyone feels that this is their home.